Hey guys, welcome to the Techpoint Africa Podcast. My name is Emmanuel.
I'm Oluwanifemi.
And Bolu.
Really? What's with the voice?
Batman.
No, you're looking for a role model. You know, you go choose Batman.
Please, I don't understand what's wrong.
Batman
No
is
Batman
rich
slander here, please.
Batman has money. Beg
You know, money is his whole superpower is the only superpower he can have in real life. You know, Sha.
I'm telling you.
With money, it's possible. We know, we've seen it happen. Okay, so but that's by the way, right? Please, if you do that, I'll be forced to do deep voice too. So there's
If me to want to do deep voice.
You don't want to try me, but I try my deep voice.
Okay. So, guys, the Apple event held on Wednesday, and there were lots of interesting things that we're going to get into, right, Bolu?
Yeah.
Then, of course, the FinTech Summit 2022 is something that promises to be game-changing, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit. Then, YC and Google, they're all up in Africa and just doing some interesting stuff, and we're going to touch that. But you need to watch the end as we discuss two startups that want to disrupt e-commerce for good. I mean, disrupt, game-changing, a strategy that failed for Amazon and DHL and Google. They want to use that strategy to disrupt e-commerce deliveries. And before we go into that, let's talk about our sponsor, Whistle. Whistle is a platform, a civic technology platform that helps you snitch and get paid for it. That is what is going to happen here. So let me just explain. You know how Lagos roads can be really, really tedious. There's traffic. There are drivers trying to beat traffic and in the process break several laws. Well, Whistle is paying you to actually snitch on these drivers when they happen. So when you see those kind of drivers, you just take a photo, upload it on Whistle app, and voila, when it's approved, you get paid. Then, of course, when there's congestion or there's an accident, you can report to the relevant authorities and help comes in real time. And the only caveat here is please don't report people who park in their houses or in front of their offices. Please use it wisely. But every other thing, just pay, just snap, upload, and snitch. You are free, right? Just go to Google Play Store, download the app, and create an account. And I'm sure you're going to. That's not how it goes. Give us feedback. Yeah. So today we're talking about Apple.
Yes.
Don't you just love them?
No, it's face Bolu.
Yeah, so Apple introduced a lot of things, and which I felt like I don't know how to feel about a lot of the things they released. The dynamic island is quite interesting. The animation is
very interesting.
We in the Android space, we have been done with notches since forever. But this new lineup of phones, the base iPhone and the iPhone 14 Plus, they still have the notch, the ugly notch.
Yeah.
But for the Pro versions, which will actually lead to something that we're going to talk about in just a bit, but the Pro versions have a little cutout that houses the camera. The usual, yeah.
What they always had.
When a notification comes and it expands, so that is dynamic, right? It leverages the AMOLED technology really, really well.
True.
And of course,
You see the look on my face.
Samsung is the one that designed that AMOLED technology. Let's just put that out there.
Of course.
I know.
That was my attraction to Samsung that year.
Yeah,
it's not now very visible in their phones.
They're a lot more subtle with it, and I think I like it. Samsung was bouncing a lot yesterday night. Very, very funny. Apple introduced a 48 megapixel sensor for the first time, and I think it's commendable because
it is.
They've stuck with 12 for a very, really long time, and they've been competing with Samsung.
Yes,
with 108 megapixels.
They've been competing well, actually.
Competing really well. They beat them in some points. Of course, you can't beat Samsung on some points like Zoom. Just forget about it. But 48 megapixel, I'm curious to see what's going to happen there. And what was the other thing they released that was new and interesting?
Oh yes, connection to satellites.
Connection with satellites.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's actually really important and very useful.
The crash detection. Yes. So if you're stranded, there's no access to network, you can communicate via SOS. So normally satellite signals, you would need an antenna, you need a whole big box to be able to communicate.
Big phone,
I mean, with Starlink, you need a whole dish to do that, right? But with the iPhone now, of course, it's free for 2 years, but after 2 years you have to pay for it. And
which is weird.
2 years might seem like a long time, but for iPhones, it's not really that long. Then, of course, the crash detection. If you're involved in an accident, the phone is able to detect it and contact relevant authorities or someone that could help. So I think that's an important one. But the whole arrangement of the iPhone lineup screams. It looks a lot like what Apple does. They've done it in the past with all their devices, both the Macs and the iPads. Something MKBHD pointed out in one of his reviews, the myth of fair value, where they did a study, and they brought two items together. One is cheaper, the other one is a little bit more expensive. People naturally gravitated to the more expensive one because they thought
it's better quality,
better value, right? Then they introduced a third, cheaper option. People now went for the one in the middle. Then they introduced a third, more expensive option, removed the cheapest one. They brought a more expensive option, and people still went for the one in the middle. That's where they think the sweet spot is. And looking at this lineup, I could see Apple actually nudging people towards two phones. In the iPhone 14 lineup, iPhone 14 Plus looks like a better option.
Yeah.
Because you are likely going to get the best battery with
best
the iPhone
battery,
14 Plus and a big screen.
Yeah.
You will be likely going to... So... Then guess what? In the previous edition, there was the iPhone 13 mini, then the main iPhone 13. That iPhone 13 mini did not sell very well.
At all.
People were going for the iPhone 13 because it was in that sweet spot. Now, people are now going to gravitate towards the one in the middle, like iPhone 14 Plus. Then in the Pro version, it just feels like, well, if you want to get Pro, just get the Pro Max, because what's the point? Just spend the extra $100 or $200 to get the Pro Max. And yeah, let's see how it goes. I'm happy for them.
I'm happy for them, actually. I'm quite...
Why are you happy for them exactly?
Well, I'm happy for them because I'm impressed.
Me, I'm not impressed. I'm just happy that they are releasing phones. The competition is... I like the whole bag.
Yes. I'm impressed that they've been able to, bring on, like you said, Android phones, we don't even have notches again. We just have a camera hole punch, and then
you just have now you're belittling.
No, I'm not belittling. We just have a camera hole punch. It's not easy way.
I guess.
Yes, we don't do notches again.
Facts.
Like she does it like this. Like
I'm an Android user, proud Android user, but I'm just saying I'm proud.
Are you proud of being an Android user?
We'll come back to this video.
Yeah, but it's really impressive what they've been able to do with the dynamic island. The animations that go from your music to your calls.
Yeah,
that's
it enables seamless multitasking. Yeah,
yes, that's really nice. And if it's just that, I would say I'm impressed. I'm impressed with
just
that.
With the time. If that was the only update they made.
Yes, I'm impressed with that. It doesn't mean I'll go and buy an iPhone, even if I have the money.
If you ask me, what do I feel?
What do you feel about it?
I don't care.
Okay, so one important detail that I didn't talk about was the fact that iPhones in the US will not have a SIM card tray. It will just be an eSIM. And of course, it doesn't concern you if you're in Nigeria. It doesn't even concern you if you're in Africa, to be fair. But
MTN tried bringing in eSIMs sometime in 2021, I believe, and so far we don't know the level it's gotten to. We know some SIMs are eSIMs, some phones, some mobile phones now of higher grade have eSIM compatibilities, but we don't know how effective they are in Nigeria or in Africa yet.
Apple will be releasing phones without any components.
Eventually,
to tell you
because
to
now,
imagination, because we talked about it in the community group yesterday. So.
Right, you just say, because now we don't have ear accessories. You don't have
a charger.
You don't have charger.
Important.
The packs are slim like this. You just come in with the phone and just deal with it. Now it's no longer coming with SIM trace.
I get to the stage where you start buying cameras separately.
And the screen too. Just go and buy from Samsung.
They just say the chip for you. They might even be like, they just say A16 Bionic chip.
No, that time A25.
Oh God.
Then you just get the screen from Samsung. We know that you guys have screens already. Just use the screen from your previous phone. Anyway, that's by the way. And of course, eSIMs might be an interesting thing in US in terms of phones, calls, and data and all of that. But we have our own issues here in Nigeria.
Of course.
Please tell us about the issues we have.
Okay. Some weeks ago, I was there on this seat ranting and vexing, and I don't know. I was angry, or I was reacting. No, I was not angry. I don't have anger. I'm not always angry. I was reacting. I was reacting to news that Nigerian federal government were planning to introduce a 5% excise duty on calls, SMSs, and data for Nigerians. And I remember going into details and talking about how the implications, how it will affect you as an average Nigerian. If you can check here, or this description box, we put the link to that episode. But the news is that on Monday, a new development came to that, and the federal government has said, okay, we are suspending the plan, and we are constituting a committee that will sit on this and try to review the plan. If you remember, also we mentioned that the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, was against the move at that time. Other relevant stakeholders, Outing, Atcon, Natcoms, all these people are in charge of telecommunication services. They were also against it, and also other stakeholders, even we users, were against it then, of course. So now this committee had to sit and reconsider the plans. Are they going to delay implementation? Are they going to review the laws? Because as I've come to know, this took root. This excise duty is taking root from the Finance Act. So I don't know what the plan would be. I'm just hoping that the end game would not be delaying implementation for it to come back later when there are not even hopes that the economy will get better.
Okay, so I think it's an important conversation to have. I mean, we've seen the finance minister and the minister of digital economy, communication and digital economy, obviously, they've not been seen eye to eye on this, right? Because on the one hand, the minister is concerned about the effect this will have on telcos, and the finance minister is saying this is actually already in the law. Allow us to implement this. There's no need to drag this ball. When you think about how weird an excise duty is, it's something that is supposed to be charged at the point of production, not when it is consumed. At the point of consumption, we already have VAT. 7.5% VAT. We're already paying that, right? So adding excise duty to it, this doesn't really make sense for me. Well, I think they might find a middle ground that they might agree on, or whatever. But at the end of the day, if anybody is paying anything, it will be the consumers that will pay for it at the end of the day. So yeah, it's an interesting conversation that I think we should follow up and actually note what is going to happen. But it's against the backdrop of a lot of economic hardship currently in Nigeria, right?
Because every naira
you're saving for something before you
don't saving for it, the price has gone up than what you
it's like you're fighting a losing battle. You can't save for items. That's why buy now, pay later, for instance, is starting to look very, very more attractive than it should be. But yes, you don't have a choice. So and I think this leads us to another important conversation, right? The building wealth and all of that before retirement. EFINA says 45% of Nigerians actually have to rely on their children for sustenance in old age. And that is, there's no guarantee. A lot of things could happen. Your children, they are actually busy trying to hustle and struggle in the same economy with you. And having to rely on them in your old age, it's not really what anyone wants, right? So you either have to get a 9-to-5 job and increase your age, or just find a way to just make ends meet, even at that old age when you should be resting and relaxing after all the work you've done in the previous years. And guess what? While the likes of Google and Facebook were doing their IPOs in the 2000s, so were you able to get the stock then? I don't think you could. Many Nigerians were not part of that huge .com boom in the 2000s when the likes of Facebook and Google went public. But today, with the help of fintech products, you're able to do a lot of that and build wealth for the future. You could do a lot of these things. Many people do not even understand the Nigerian stock market. I'm even going too far.
Talk less of the New York.
Not talk of the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, right? And fintech products are coming in mass, right? So at the Fintech Summit 2022, we're actually going to be hosting several fintech startups that are helping people build wealth and grow their wealth before. Oh God, this is actually very, very emotional.
I feel you. I understand. I understand how it feels. Growing wealth, for old age, things like that.
I don't like to think about it, honestly.
I'm feeling it.
Okay, so
yes, that is why. Before, I'm not going to join in the emotional whatever it is they are doing. The Fintech Summit is holding on the 26th of September, 26th of November. Wow, I wish it was close already. 26th of November 2022, and we're going to be bringing together innovators and startups that are building solutions that will help you to build wealth towards the time you retire, right? So that you don't get emotional as like these guys are getting. Just come to the event. You'll be able to pick the minds of these people, use their product, learn how to create wealth and to maintain it for a long time. So we will drop the link in the description. Go to www. No, this is not me.
You don't need to say www.
Go to fintech.techpoint.africa and register.
Fintech.techpoint.africa. The early bird ticket is on right now. Just go and register and look forward to it.
Yeah, mind you, this is just one of the things, one of the attractions. Of course. So you will likely find this in really, really key spots in the event, right? So just need to discover it. So that's I just needed to point that out.
Yeah.
That's just one of the things. Don't worry. Every week we'll be giving you buzzwords. Don't worry. Just stay tuned to this. And fintech startups exploding in the scene. And guess what? Y Combinator. That's YC, obviously. Then Google. They're up to some interesting things right now, right?
Okay, so on Tuesday.
Don't skip Google.
On Tuesday, right? Innovators and press people and stakeholders, right? They gathered somewhere in the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria in Abuja to celebrate or just commemorate the Google for Startup Black Founders Fund program. For this year, it has begun since 2012. But for this year, we have 60 African startups receiving up to $4 million. So
this is $4 million shared between 60. They got between $50,000 to
$200,000. Yes,
$100,000 actually.
Okay, $200,000 and $200,000 in Google Cloud Credit, right? So this is supposed to help them to scale up and also develop their current work. Among the 60 African startups that got the fund, 23 are from Nigeria, 12 from Kenya, 6 from Uganda, 5 from South Africa. 6 from Rwanda. Sorry about that. 5 from South Africa, 4 from Uganda, and 3 from Cameroon. And the others are shared between Ethiopia, Botswana, Senegal, and Ghana.
Don't give them too much details. Let them go and find it out.
Okay, so we'll drop a link in the description about all these startups and what this fund is going to help them achieve.
Yeah, and if you're a woman entrepreneur out there, that's a weird. I know Precious is going to look for me with this, but I have to say woman entrepreneur. I'm sorry, but yeah, if you're a woman entrepreneur out there, you need to actually read the article and see if there's an interesting trend. 50% of the startups were actually women-led businesses.
Cool.
In fintech, in hospitality, in education, across all industries. So there's a nice balance, and I'm really impressed with that. So I think we should point that out too. So, so yeah, YC.
Okay, so it seems we are sharing funds this week. Like innovators are getting recognized and getting money for whatever it is they're building. So this week, the Y Combinator demo day held for summer 2022. for summer 2022 cohort. And in this cohort, 240 startups were admitted out of 19,000 applications that were received. That's like 1.2% acceptance rate.
Wow.
And they did 227 out of those 240 startups or founders made it to the demo, and they demoed on Wednesday and Thursday. But for looking at the numbers for the same period of time last year, that was summer 2021, 390 startups made it there, and 80 were from Africa. But for this, 7 were from Africa. Meanwhile, in early this year, in winter 2022 cohort, 402 startups made it from, and 23 came from Africa. So we suspect that this is due to YC cutting down the number of the cohort size, right, due to the ongoing economic realities. And well, of the 10 African startups that made it, to the list, not the people that made it to demo day, of the 10 startups, of the 10 African startups that made it, the 5 are from Africa or from Nigeria, like the remaining are from the remaining are from other African countries. But for this year, many startups, many innovators that made it to the list are into fintech.
Many of them.
Because
that's where the money is.
Yes. I think from previous conversation, it seemed like it's an African thing, but it's like a global thing. Yes. Solutions are still coming for financial services. But then we noticed something. We noticed a lot of things, right?
So what did you notice?
So we noticed that 71% of the startups have applied before. Of startups that got into it have applied before. We also noticed that half of the cohorts have applied before. Okay. Right? Sorry, but 75% of them they are pre-revenue. People that they've not started making revenue. That's still probably in the very, very early stage. But the very, very, I don't know how to feel about this. Is the one thing that we notice is that only one edtech startup
in Africa.
No, in the whole of the 240 founders, only one of their solutions is focused on education. So, and the last time it got as worse as this was 2015. That they had only one edtech
solution.
So it's surprising given how
it's not actually. So at the Google events on Tuesday, right? Bosun Tijani of CC Hub mentioned something, but to rephrase or summarize what he said, education is kind of in a weird place right now, because a lot of the things happening in education space, you can actually get them for free. You could actually learn all you need to learn on YouTube. The
creator economy.
Exactly.
Snatching.
So said the onus for education right now is not even on the part of a company, but on the part of individuals who should be able to discipline themselves enough
to look for
those resources to learn. So if you want to upskill, if you want to learn how to take your storytelling skills from point A to point Z, you can get that information for free
on YouTube,
or any other platform, not just YouTube, right? There's Udemy, there's Coursera. They're really, really affordable. So the whole edtech thing, you see that you're looking for grants to actually cause impact, but for the business model, I think Chingozema has been working on one story since forever about edtech business model. And for me, I just feel like edtech companies or tech education companies have it all to do. And if they're already doing it, I feel like they're either lucky or they're doing something really, really right. So I feel like it will be very, very hard for edtech companies to really, really be attractive to investors at this stage. I mean, there are lots of them already that are doing awesome stuff. But if you see the way they are packaging themselves, they're not just packaging themselves as an edtech company. Look at say an all school or a decagon. It's all about talent,
not just education.
Not education. So there's something there. And if you look at ULesson, might be an exception, but ULesson has a founder that has a mad track record with startups. So there's also that. So whether you are doing the all school route or the ULesson route, everything is, there's Utiva there, there's Gradely. There are a lot of solutions out there already.
Well, this would be a good time to mention that if you're building any tech solution, we would like to hear from you. We'd like to know the pain points that you're going through, how the market is treating you, how you're trying to go through these waters. Because if investors are not having interest in what you're building, it's a huge thing. Even though you yourself as a founder, you know that there's a problem to be solved, right? And given the kind of competitions that are all over the place, so we want to hear from you if you're building any solution in the ed tech industry.
And it's all about packaging. Just you can look at Honey Edukoya, yes. So how much they raise in pre-seed?
And the product is not out.
The product is not out yet. So it's all about packaging, right? There's all school raised $1 million already. There's ULesson. So just find a way to just package your thing very, very well. Before we go to the final story for today, which I'm sure you're going to find very, very interesting, let's take a message from the people paying our house rent.
Hi, I'm Abisola Adenoga, the head of business at Techpoint Africa. Did you know that you could present yourself as a reputable brand leader? Did you know that your business can get the limelight it deserves? Now you do. Using Techpoint Africa's marketing tools, we can put you in the faces of a large audience for brand awareness and thought leadership. To do this, reach out to us by sending an email to business@techpoint.africa or click on the link in the description below.
Yeah, guys, welcome back to the Techpoint Africa podcast. And now we're going to talk about deliveries, food deliveries, grocery deliveries, every kind of deliveries. And all I'm thinking about is on my birthday, the machine is going to fly to my doorstep, deliver a very beautiful cake to me, and nothing will happen to it on the way. So, yeah, Bolu, tell us about that.
Okay, yeah. So, there's I won't say it's a new trend. It's something that we've heard a lot about before, but let me just go to the story. What's happening now is Jumia has partnered with Zipline to start delivering your packages with drones. So if you don't know Zipline is actually an American company, a robotics American company that uses drones for deliveries. They've been around since 2014, but they've actually been very active in Africa. They started in Rwanda, where they started delivering healthcare products, blood, stuff like that in Rwanda. And since then, they've moved to Ghana. They launched recently in Nigeria this year, and they've actually been doing really well. They've been doing really good, and now Jumia has partnered with them to use that technology to improve their own delivery, make it faster, make it better, obviously. But the issue with drone deliveries, I remember the first time I heard about it, I think that was during the pandemic. I was like, that's actually a very good idea. What's there? Just fly your drone. We've seen all these cameramen use drones. Just fly it and it will deliver something like that. It was genius. But then I started working on a story about, the Jumia and Zipline partnership, and I discovered that there's a lot of gray areas to drone deliveries. Actually, it's really not as simple as most people would think. I know it sounds exciting, it sounds very futuristic, but it's really not as simple. The Amazon actually attempted in 2013. That was what made it very popular. In 2013, then Jeff Bezos on this American show 60 Minutes, revealed Amazon's plans to start delivering with drones. People were like, wow. And it was really amazing. And then they started the program, the Amazon Air Prime. And they started the program, and then What that was since 2013. What are we now? 2022. We've not been seeing. We've not started seeing Amazon drones delivering stuff, and at a particular point in time, they actually had to scrap the program where they fired everybody in the UK office where they were developing this stuff because it wasn't really working out. And why is this thing not working? Like I said, there's a lot of gray areas. There's a lot of things you have to think about. Okay, you want to deliver something somewhere. How would the drone bring it down? Okay, the drone is over the house, right? Will you drop it? It might be something that can spoil. So will it come down? Even when it's coming down, because these drones have to be autonomous. You can't have people piloting.
Why not?
You can have. That's a lot
The
of
range
people.
Now.
It's cheaper for you to actually hire a dispatch rider than to hire a drone pilot. It is. So these drones have to be autonomous. So does this drone know exactly, okay, if it sees a field, does it know how to land? Can it land safely by itself? There might be kids playing in the house, in the compound. These drones have like 8 spinning rotors that can inflict very serious damages. What does it do? You can train it to know these things, but yes, there's AI. But I remember what an AI expert actually told me some time ago. He told me, what we don't have now isn't really AI. What we have is machine learning. You teach them things.
So we're not.
It's not as if they're intelligent. It's not as if there's a computer that is just intelligent and knows. It's what you've told them. That.
Careful where you are going. Because
okay.
Instagram and TikTok people, they were saying that I don't know what I'm talking about, but I do. AI is not.
Yeah, AI is not there yet. Yeah, so.
Yeah, so, but what you're referring to is the general artificial intelligence. That intelligence that's supposed to mimic human intelligence.
Exactly.
Not there yet. So the issue you're probably referring to now is the issue we're still facing with self-driving cars.
True.
And self-driving cars, they've not taken that leap where you don't need humans.
Exactly, because there are very unique circumstances with these things that a human will know what to do, but a machine might not necessarily. You can't train it with every possible circumstance. Anything can happen. Basically.
But then, moving away from the technical aspect, now there is still the regulatory aspect.
That is also there.
What is admissible, what is not.
Exactly.
Because there are still rules in African countries against unmanned air vehicles like these drones. So the government regulations are there. So and there is airspace traffic also. We don't know what's in this space, because when it comes to this side of the world, there are very few things that we plan. Just out of our own whips, we just go ahead and do things. We don't know the house, maybe in a particular area, maybe some houses are not supposed to be taller than a particular end, but somebody has gone ahead to do that because they can circumvent some things. Yeah. So a lot of things. A lot of things.
Gray areas you mentioned. Just imagine how well planned Lagos houses are. That's
and that's true. And Lagos is actually it's a place where there's a lot of air traffic happening. And yes, Zipline has succeeded in some of these places. And those places
succeeded in Rwanda.
Yes.
Correct? So why can't they just translate that to?
Okay, are these places where they've succeeded?
Right.
Sorry about that. Are they as densely populated as Lagos, for example? A day? And do you have a lot of air traffic in those places as much as Lagos? Because there are places where, because there was a video I was watching and they were talking about, okay, even if Amazon drones will work in a particular place, there was this place in America where they said, okay, this place does not have that much air traffic. And then even in the places that don't have that much air traffic, the places where the people are actually in those places where there's air traffic. So who exactly do you want to deliver to? And then Amazon has been trying to get the regulatory requirements for them to start operating. And then in the USA, for you to get to those requirements, you need like 7,000 successful trips. Like Amazon has not gotten one. Actually, in the attempt to revamp their whole drone stuff, some of those drones, a particular drone actually crashed. It came down to land the package and bow. And imagine that was someone's house there, or there was a child playing there at that moment. And Lagos is not even a place where you have a lot of people that have compound, that have a backyard. Most of these buildings are apartment
planned. Perfectly.
The apartment buildings, face me, I face you. How we drone cut somebody's head in Lagos.
So I think I have high hopes for what these companies are planning to do, because if there is no hope, like why would they go into the market at all? So of course there are a lot of things that can mitigate against it, but still I believe that with some of these things in place, they can still focus on some high-end areas with a little bit of plan. That can help, right? Then they can have itineraries that are stable, like uniform itineraries that they can also follow, instead of the just generally everyone. You have to start somewhere to know if it will work. All we are saying is because on paper and because of what other companies have experienced, right? So, but I'm having high hopes for Zipline.
Okay, yeah.
Let us know if you want to hear Zipline or Jumia talk about this, and we're going to do our best to make that happen. So, if I see one comment, no, 2 comments, 3 comments, 4 comments,
I stick to one.
If I see a good number of comments asking to know about this, no, 20 is too much now. But yeah, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you're watching this right now, I just need to see a comment that says, "Hey, we like to know about this drone delivery thing." Then we're going to make sure
get an expert here
on to discuss this whole topic of, and maybe if you want to know more about how well AI has really advanced, I think that's a topic that we should also talk about, and we should actually know if what we really have as experts in AI are actually AI experts or just data analysts. No, I'm not jabbing anybody, but yeah, that's one we should say. And of course, you know what to do if you're watching us and you feel this has been useful, this has been informative. Just share us to your friends, your families, and even your enemies. Yes, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and anywhere else you're watching this from. And of course, for the OG guys, those guys have been with us right from the beginning. Bolu, where can they find us?
Well, you can find us on the usual place you usually find us. Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and anywhere else you get your podcast.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. I was thinking she was about to do her own deep voice.